All in all, it's just another field group in the wall. Hey, I'm Eric, and one of the things that we have learned to appreciate about Business Central is the fact that there's some clear separations between certain things. That pages are responsible for UI and code units that are libraries of functionality. We got the tables for the database and stuff like that. But we do have one little weird thing. Let me show you. Here is the item list. And I'm currently actually using tile mode. So at this point, I see nice pictures, and we can see that we got the item number and the description and a price and a unit, and I think this is a stock level and so on. And we can go in a different one, take the tall tiles and see the big photos and the same thing. And that's pretty cool. But if we let's go somewhere else. Let's go to general posting setup. And that's also a nice page. And we cannot select tall tiles. But we can select tiles. So what happens here? So this look less polished than what we saw on the item. We clearly have a number of fields: domestic, retail. Then we have a double click. Sorry, we have a view all accounts on lookup, checkbox. We also got an account number here, but then let's go somewhere else. Let's go to customers. And if we do the same thing here, let's do tiles. We get nice photos of some handsome people. We got some numbers, and maybe somebody thinks this makes sense. I'm not sure it actually does. We got a balance and a balance due. But anyway, that looks pretty nice. But what if we go to locations? Well, that's a simple list, so the tile kind of looks nice. What if we go to let's grab something else. Let's grab account schedules. We can do tiles. And yeah, that also makes sense. But let's for fun stay a bit with the general posting setup. See if we can find it. Because this looks weird, right? Sorry about the intro, but what we're actually working with here is something known as a field group. So if we go to VS Code and we find the customer list, because the customer had, or the item list had, a very nice tile, and it clearly used the image thing. But there's no image. I can't remember if this is actually an image or picture, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing on this page object that defines the tile that's used on this page, because that is actually found on the customer table. So if we go to the customer table here and we search for field groups, then we can see here on the customer table that there are two field groups defined. One is called drop down, 2 capital D's. If you're not using 2 capital D's, it doesn't work. And one is called break. And what we see as soon as we go into something like this. As soon as you select tile, whatever fields are selected is actually depending not on the page, but on the field group on the table. Meaning that if you created a nice looking customer page with some statistical information or whatever it is, and your users click tile, whatever you have done on that page doesn't matter, because the field group called brick is the one that decides what fields to show. So this is weird. And we can see here that number, name, balance, contact, balance due, and image. So if there's an image field present in the brick, then the tall tile is also available. Otherwise, you only have tile. So and you can't define a field group on a page. So it's kind of weird that we have this this UI component suddenly sitting on a table. We do have one other thing that up here you can have a drill down page ID and lookup page ID, but the drill down. So in this case, if you're somewhere else and you're looking up, so you don't have to define the lookup relations everywhere, that kind of makes sense, but it's also UI on the table level. These can be overridden on the page by changing the on lookup, on drill down, but the field group is locked. So what is so that is the brick. So whenever, and if we go to let's actually try to, if I go to the general posting setup table, we can see that there are no field groups defined on this one, but clearly we still got a brick here. So every record is turned into a brick, and what actually happened is we go up to the top, then we can see that we have the general business posting group, the general product posting group, the sales account, the sales discount account. Maybe not actually. Let's see what we get. So let's see. So you see, there's a blank one at the top here because this one has domestic freight. So if we go back, let's see what we actually get here. So domestic freight. So let's add a description. It's rarely used for anything, but YouTube. Here we go. Boom. Now we got a description. We have the view all accounts on lookup. So let's go back here and check for tiles. So actually you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So without a break, without a field group defined, we actually get the columns used. So if we see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we get the first 5 columns turned into a brick, and there might be some rendering rules depending on the type of fields that I'm not aware of. But I know this is perhaps a bad example or a bad example, but when you get to create a new table, you need to consider this. You need to consider that users might click on this one, and then how is your data rendered? So, and I see 2 approaches here. One approach is, of course, that you do, let's take the locations as example, that whatever you put on your list will look nice in a tile. That's one approach. The other approach is that you go in, and if I'm able to locate Maybe I'm not. See if I can go back. So somebody suggested that I tell what keyboard shortcuts I use. So in VS Code, you can navigate between locations you've been in with Alt and arrows left and right. So left, you go back in places where you have been before, and right, you go forward. And sometimes that's a very clever thing to do, and other times it's just waste of key presses. So sorry for the detour, bonus content. The other solution is that you actually define a brick on your tables. The problem with the brick is that if you have different list views on the same table with different columns present, as soon as you use the brick, then no matter what columns you have, your view will be turned into whatever is here. So 2 options. The other field group is more interesting or more straightforward because it's called drop down, and that's what it's used for. So in case where, let's go to a sales order. Go to a sales order. Come on. Well, that's actually a bad example. Let's go to a where can we look up something that makes sense? Let's go to a the physical inventory journal. What is it called? Something journal. Item journal. Let's just do that one. So here we got the item number, and the columns here, the number, the description, base unit of measure, and unit price. If we go to, I go back here again to this one, and I select the item table, and I do field group, then we can see that number, description, base unit of measure, unit price. That's the drop down field group. So if you don't specify the drop down field group, you will get just the first fields in your table here. Whatever Microsoft feels like. They may show everything, they may show some of them. It's undefined. They may show something today and something else tomorrow. But if you define a field group called dropdown, 2 capital Ds, then that's what will be used here. So the morale of the story is that you gotta consider field groups. You gotta make sure that you decide how the bricks in your wall should be, and not let Microsoft decide it for you. Let me know in the comments below if you're using field groups, if you're remembering to add them, or you have decided not to get the auto-generated based on your columns. And when you're done writing your comment and you have subscribed and all that good, then go watch this one. It's also a very good video. And I'll see you in that one. Take care. Bye.